What's going on, guys? Sean here from Hammerhead. Welcome to the Sunday night Spitball. Happy Father's Day to all you dads out there. You're more than deserving of a break, I'm sure. What's going on tonight? I got my tea in my Alexander Keith mug because it was the only one clean. Oh, not expecting a huge turnout tonight because it's Father's Day, but you never can tell. Weather's been pretty decent. Last couple of days here, it's been, I don't know what it would be in American, I call it 80 degrees probably, but it's been decent enough here. 26 degrees right now here at 8:30 in the evening. That's pretty good. I think it hit a high of around 30 or something like that earlier today. So anyway, I was out tinkering my motorcycle. There'll be a video coming up about that next week. I was actually able to get some parts for the old Virago that haven't been available up until 2 weeks ago. And I've been looking for years for this particular part. Could not find it, and was able to score a brand new one in a bag. Hey man, what's going on, my man? Yeah, I got a couple of stepkids. None of my own that lived. But anyway, yeah, Father's Day today. Hello there, Robert. Happy Daddy's Day to you too, bud. I was just saying, I found these parts for my Virago motorcycle. It's an 84. And as you can imagine, they're not just like giving those things away anymore. Mr. Tom. So anyway, they made these parts available. There's a company out in California called Caltric, Caltric, and they're making this particular part. So I ordered one up there when they became available 2 weeks ago, and I got it Friday in the mail. So yesterday I put it on. So anyway, I put it on, and I was having a heck of a time with this bike. It started and everything, but then it was backfiring and missing and everything else. So it said pulse generators. They're two little reluctors. They're magnets. They sit right by the stator, and they go around the flywheel. It's magnetized, and they send a pulse to the igniter to collapse the primary windings of the coil to fire the plug. Essentially, they're just electronic points. Anyway, so I was thinking, well, maybe I didn't put them in right, but then I got to thinking and looking at the video footage. Well, there's only one way they go in, so that wasn't it. So then I had the carburetor all apart, thinking there was a block jet. And what it was doing was it was spitting back through the carburetor. And normally when that happens, it indicates a lean condition. So anyway, I was checking my jets. I thought, well, maybe the slow speed jet's got a blockage in it or something. Like there's a piece of trash in there. As you guys know what's in pump fuel nowadays, it could be anything. There could be a mouse in there for all you know. But anyway, I got it all apart, and there was nothing wrong with the carb. I didn't find the problem until today. I just got frustrated with it, and I said I had enough. It's hot, and I'm not going to frig with it. I thought timing too, but the timing's fixed on these things, Mopar nut. You can't adjust it. So anyway, what it ended up being, boys, believe it or not, is a bad spark plug, brand new out of the box. The front cylinder was black as an army boot when I took the plug out. Like, I mean, fouled bad. So the plug was bad. The reason how I found it is I always keep another set of the old plugs in my saddlebag. So I grabbed those and I put them back in the machine, fired it up, ran perfect. Right? It ran perfect. So then I took them out and I put the old ones back in just to double check, because you always want to verify your repair. That's kind of what you do as a mechanic. You guys know this. Dr. Art, what's going on, man? Nice to see you on here. Happy Father's Day. Anyway, so I put the old ones back in, and it started farting and missing and going on again. So it was like, oh, bingo, I think we got a winner here. Winner, chicken dinner. So I put the old plugs back in, fired it back up, ran great. And then I took it up the road, and I put about 50 miles on it, and it worked perfectly. I even passed a car coming up the hill here. So anyway, I tried it out, and that's what it ended up being. But I've been seeing a lot of bad plugs brand new out of the box lately. I don't know what your guys' results have been with that lately, but lately, I mean within the last 6 months, I've been seeing a lot of bad brand new spark plugs. Now this one was an Autolite plug, and I've had good luck with them. But I mean, all it takes, boys, is somebody to drop one onto a concrete floor, okay, as they're packaging it or whatever, and then throw it in the box. And that's enough to make it not work, or there's a problem with it, right? So anyway, that's what it ended up being. So I'm happy about that, right? I mean, I really like motorcycling. Obviously, you guys know that have been following my channel. It's just you never feel freer than when you're on a motorcycle and you got this V twin or whatever it is between your legs, and it just it's a whole freedom thing for me, right? Which brand? It was Autolite. Yeah, I think they're made in China, but I'm not entirely sure. But anyway, I've had good luck with Autolite plugs. This is the first bad Autolite I've had. The ones that I've seen the most, believe it or not, problems with are NGK, which is a well-known plug manufacturer. We use them in just about everything, right? So bad, yeah, cafes, the Viragos they cafe. Mine's just kind of an old school chop, right? I got like the 12-inch ape hangers on it, and I'm gonna weld up a trident, like a sissy bar. You guys that have been around a while know what that is. It's like the three forks, right? Make like some sharp points, but anyway, yeah. The main thing is I got the thing working, so that's kind of cool. And I'm glad to report to you is that the truck's working fantastic. I had it out every night this week, trying to get some miles on it so that I can build some confidence back up in it, right? Because before, when I was driving it daily, I had a lot of confidence in it because I was in it every day, driving it around, taking it here, taking it there. Well, that confidence went away when I started having them fuel problems. So then you put the new stuff in, and it's an experiment all over again. So you're basically starting at zero. You guys know what I mean. I mean, you guys are mechanical type people too, mechanics, so But so anyway, I'm getting some confidence built back up in that. I took her for I broke the tires loose in third gear. Took her for a pretty good little chooch up the road there, and I didn't hit extreme RPMs or anything, but I hit 5,000 there once, short shifted it, and it seemed to be good. So, do plugs on a Ford Taurus. Oh, plugs on those things are a nightmare. Is it almost like the Triton where you need like 3 men, a boy, and a welding torch in order to get the things out of the block or out of the head? Like I know those Triton engines, they make a special tool to retrieve the broken off section of spark plug out of your cylinder head, right? Like what a friggin' nightmare. That's a horrible design, by the way. I don't know why anybody would ever even consider doing something like that. Well, I do know why. It's so that you'll take it to the dealership and spend copious amounts of your hard-earned money, right? It's happened on my Ram Charger, the fuel demon jerk. Oh yeah. Yep. No, it's a friggin' nightmare. As you guys know that have ever broken a plug off in a cylinder head. I did on an old Chevy 350 one time. I broke a plug off way in the back, and I could get at it. It was broken off flush. What a nightmare that was getting that out of there. I almost had to take the head off. Hoppy, what's going on, buddy? Now you're talking. What's up, fellas? Happy Father's Day to you too, my man. Right on. The rears on the Vulcan are not that bad. Yeah, some of them aren't bad to get at, but it's just getting them out of the head. Like if they've taken a good set in the cylinder, and I think a lot of it too, Mopar, is it's dissimilar metals, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, you got aluminum, and then you're trying to screw in a steel threaded plug with maybe like a stainless ring on aluminum. So, I mean, you got 3 dissimilar metals there that are working against you ever getting the plugs back out of the head. That's why I always put a little coating of I call it always sees, but the real name of it is never sees around the thread. Even on my Ranger, on the aluminum heads on that, I did it on the cast iron heads as well. I always put a little bit around the plug threads, right? Makes it easier getting them out, especially when you're working around hot headers and whatnot. Never broken one off. Well, you're lucky, man. I haven't broken a lot off, but I have done it. Electrolysis, that's what that's called, eh? The dissimilar metal thing. I know in my trade, Robert, in motorcycles, we put a lot of Healy coils and things for that very reason. Because you're running steel threads into soft aluminum, and that's just a recipe for problems, right? It's a recipe for disaster. But I mean, it's good in a way on my end of it because you can make good money doing it. But still, I mean, best case scenario is there's a little bit of bolt left over so you can get something on it to pull it out, heat it up maybe with a torch and then get it out of there, or use a left-handed drill bit. The worst part is when they're broken off, not flush, but down below in the hole. And I've had good luck using beeswax, believe it or not, like solid beeswax, heat it up till it smokes, put the beeswax in there, and then let it sit for 10 or 15 minutes. A lot of times you can get it out that way. Aluminum heads, yep. So I got a cheapo set, and then we made them what I wanted. I ported them myself, and then we did some valve work on them and turned them into something. But for the price they wanted with AFRs and trick flows, I mean, these were a fraction of the cost, even after doing all that work. And they flow nice. Like I said, I think I told you guys that we put them on the bench, and they flow enough to make 500 horsepower. So that's more than enough. My service is spotty, but I'm here. Yeah, right on, buddy. I'm surprised how many of you fellas are actually on here tonight. I figured because it was Father's Day, there wouldn't be a lot of these around, but cool. Right on. So anyway, yeah, just been kind of kicking around the shop there this week, and I was doing a service on a mule. I'll have a little video of that, just showing you guys some of the things I look at when I'm underneath them. Yeah, the heads on my Ranger, Robert, are they're Flowtech. They're the 180cc, 58cc combustion chamber. And if you go back on my channel, you can see videos of what I did to them, all the porting I did to them. And then they're also at my buddy's machine shop, and he recut all the valve seats. And because what was happening was the ring on the valve was at the very, very bottom, and we wanted it at the top. So it's just as soon as the valve just cracks a smidge off the seat, air's coming in, right? It's better for performance. Yeah, right on. Yeah, the beeswax idea does work. I've used it on cast iron. I've also used it on aluminum, and we've had a lot of luck using it. And if you're wondering where to get pure beeswax, it doesn't have to be pure, but just go to any local farmer that has a bee farm where they sell honey or something. They'll have lots of that stuff laying around. They probably give it to you. I forget where I got mine. I think it was at the hardware store. They had a bunch of little like cubes of it or whatever, and it's almost like a welding rod. You heat it up and you just feed it in there, and it melts in there, right? And eventually it works its way in around the threads, which is what you're trying to do anyway. I've only been watching you for, yeah, right on. Yeah, there's some videos there. I think they're called the Flowtech Head Fiasco, but there's also one on how to port for fun and power, I think it's called. And there's some other videos on there. Just go back a ways. Yeah, so what else is going on, fellas? Hope you guys are having a good weekend, nice and relaxing. Oh, yeah. Wife and I just had a fire outside. We have a little campfire. We've got a fire pit outside, and I took her up the road in that mule that I did the service on. She's never been in one of those things. We went up for a little ride up the road there and showed her the full 17 horsepower of Fury. But anyway, yeah, so other than that, not really waiting on anything at the moment. I'll get some work coming this week. I made a couple of videos. Like I said, I've got a good long one on the Brago. I've also got one on the Kawasaki Mule. This one's a 2020. I'll have them up this week. The one I put up there the other day was on the Ranger, the fuel tank and fuel system that I had on it, and a picture of the lake. We've got a lake about a mile from our house, and it's kind of nice. How did your Kijiji short vid? The Kijiji short one went crazy, man. It took right off. I think it's over 100 views there now. It's ridiculous. A lot of people like that one. They also like the one about me putting the run to the census folks the other day. Wheel alignment clamps for Father's Day. Right on. Yeah, I've seen pictures on Facebook of people getting like sailboats and stuff, and I'm having tea. That's what I get for. But anyway, yeah, yeah. You saw that one, did you, Robert? Yeah, I uh, I knew those people were coming. They wouldn't take no for an answer, so I had my video camera ready, and she barely got out of the car, and I already had it on her. So in any case, I won't go into it too much detail here, but I'm just tired of it. And I was polite. I mean, you guys didn't hear me curse at her. I thought I was quite sensible in what I said. I didn't get angry or anything. I just basically said I'm not interested in participating in any of your programs in a nice way, right? But firm enough to let them know that I wasn't going to take any nonsense from them either, right? But anyway, yeah, no, it's yeah. See, it's different, I guess, if you're living in the city and whatever you're renting, or even then. But when you have your own property, you got to be careful, because if you live in the rural areas like we do, there's nobody around here, right? There's just our neighbors and very few people out here. So you're always on guard a little bit. You notice probably in the background here we have a dog, and not that he's a whole lot of good as a watchdog because he's 15, but you're keeping an eye. Let's just call it this: you're keeping an eye, a close eye on things and how things go around you, right? But anyway, so for people, thank you and left fast. Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like, just they don't want to do it probably anyway, but it's their job or whatever. I mean, it's my job to not let them do their job, I guess, right? And anyone that knows me, I'm not that hard to deal with. I'm not that hard to get along with. I'm a pretty easygoing fellow until it comes to my rights, and then we're going to have a problem if you don't allow me to do my thing, right? I haven't done any eighth mile or quarter mile racing with it yet, Robert, because the tracks are all closed here. I'm waiting to get a good tune on it, get the rear end in it, and then I'm going to get some draggy times. If I had to guess for a time in the eighth mile right now, it's probably going to be in the 780s, 790s, somewhere around there. The carb is a Holly 650 double pumper. It's got a 71 main jet, or sorry, 73 main jet, and it's got a 76 in the rear. The front's got a 6.5 power valve in it, and the rear has a power valve delete. And I'm running a 38 accelerator pump squirter in the front, and I'm running a 28 in the rear. And still using the 30cc accelerator pump setup. There's no need for my engine for 50cc. It's getting plenty of fuel. Works good. Yeah, we don't have too much problem with that up here, Mopar. There used to be a real issue with that up here, but it seems like a lot of those offending type people moved out of this area, so that's kind of good. But that being said, I've got video cameras up and motion sensors and everything all over the place. So I know when there's somebody like 500 yards away coming up the road, I'm well aware of it. But anyway, yeah. No, I'm happy with the truck. Like I said, it needs more gear. If I had 410s in that thing, I think it would be an animal. I really do. It struggles from second to third a little bit. It still pulls the RPM good, but I think it'd be quicker if I had a 410 in it rather than 345. Yeah, it runs good. Like, it's strong. Like when you're in the cab, it's pushing you back in the seat. Like it's moving. It's not. It's just sitting there. The engine, you can hear the revs, and I didn't even rev it out all the way. I had about another 1,000 RPM I could have went, but there was no point because I was on a public road in Mexico, and you never know what's coming the other way. That's the problem, right? So you kind of got to pick and choose that type of shenanigans. Hey, Dutch, what's going on, buddy? He's like, you're talking, but you're not talking to me. What's happening with that? But anyway, no, I pulled the plugs out of the Ranger the other day because like I said, I was frigging with the fuel system, and it's always a good idea after you do a few hot runs to pull the spark plugs out. They look nice, man. They're minty. By minty, I mean nice brown color, no richness, no leanness, just perfect. And I'm running an 036 gap, spark plug gap. Oh, wait in the back. Well, actually, you know what? Sean Cadden from this guy's garage told me I should try 430 rear gear in it. He had a Fox Body 5.0 based platform in his rig, and he said the 430 gear was the ticket. He said the car really loved that. So maybe I should, because it's got such a tall, like the overdrive is ridiculous. Like right now at 75 miles an hour, it's like 1700 RPM. Like the engine's, it's actually too low. The engine should be running a little faster than that, I think. Yeah, I'm in Mexico. Cheer too. Yeah. Yeah, Mexico. It's nice to go across the border, once in a while and live her up, right? You get no speed limits down there, so. Get yourself a taco, chill out a little bit, and then come back. But anyway, it's funny, when I was in Texas, I was only about 2 hours from the Mexican border. I was down there for 3 months back in the early 90s. Overdrive's 68. Yeah, it's a 68 overdrive. And mine is it's the T5 out of the V6 Mustang. It's actually it's almost a T45, but it's a T5 Borg. It's a Borg Warner, but it's or Tremec. It's the real Tremec one, but it's got I think it's not the 289 to 1 first gear. It's the 333 or 331, the really crazy first gear. So I almost have no first gear. It's like you bang the throttle, take off at say 2,500 RPM. She squeals a little bit, and then she's right at 4,500. You shift into second right away. There's no point in revving it out in first gear because it's so short. You're wasting time by letting it develop all the way in first. Just go right to second and then get on her hard in second. And when I go to second, that's when the gear would really help me, because it would catapult the torque and multiply it so much that it would just give the truck a giant shove, right? That and having posi traction, so it's not a one-wheel peel anymore, and play with my shocks, get some decent shocks on it, and play with the settings. I think I can get a good weight transfer there so that I can shock the rear tires the way I need to get it moving, right? I'll bring some bumpers. Yeah, there you go. They must have like a Tijuana there. They must have like a cheap re-chroming area or something there. You can bring your chrome parts. Maybe I'll send you a couple bags of motorcycle fasteners. You can just throw it in the bath with your bumpers. It's a good way to get some chroming done for reasonable, right? Anyway, anyone listening to this, if you have motorcycle or ATV or engine questions, jump in here. But anyway, so how's your project going there, Mopar Nut? Did you get your car out? You were waiting on a seat there, or expensive seat cover, and I forget what else I saw you doing to it. Are you waiting on some parts or something maybe for it? Believe it or not, fellas, I do watch your guys' videos, the ones that have the channel. Just checking my device here for a second. I don't generally get any messages from anybody, but my buddy from Alberta, I'll message him later. But anyway, yeah, so I bet you your car runs pretty hard, doesn't it, Robert? I would guess it does, seeing as what you were telling me it is. I want to see Jody. I'm surprised he's not on here tonight. I'd like to see what goes on with his 347. He's trying to get it to the dyno room, but I don't know if he's been able to do it yet, or I think he's waiting on getting the fuel. He's trying to figure out the tuning or get the fuel system sorted out. But I think that thing's got some potential as well. Get some tuning in it. lot of metric bikes. I'm afraid to go fix them because parts are hard to find. Yeah, they can be. Hit me up if you're looking for a specific part. I work on a lot of metric bikes, so I got some cards up my sleeve, so to speak, when it comes to those things. So if there's a specific thing you're after, just hit me up there and I'll see if I can locate one for you or whatever it is, right? I mean, a motorcycle is essentially a motorcycle anyway, man. I've worked on Harleys. I've worked on the oldest bike I've ever worked on was a 32 Indian Scout. The newest would be a 2020. Japanese, I've worked on Harley Davidsons. I've worked on just about everything. British stuff, Royal Enfield, Triumph, Norton, BSA. I've worked on Ariels, a lot of different machines. Ducati a little bit, but that's a kind of a specialty deal. You need very specific tools to work on those things. But and ATVs, obviously, like I'm Kawasaki, Honda, Suzuki, and Yamaha trained. But I mean, that covers not just motorcycles, but their whole line pretty much, right? But anyway, I don't know if Nick's watching tonight or not, but I was kind of surprised. Maybe it's because Father's Day or whatever. But he normally does a live every Friday night. This week he didn't do one, so I missed his last one. I think we were actually out doing something, which is surprising. America Harley, pull your hair out. Uh-huh. Amarusi Harley, what's that? Is that a specific type of Harley? The principle's the same, doesn't matter what it is. If it's a 4-cycle, suck, squeeze, bang, blow. That's all you need to know. That's a little rhyme we used to have it at motorcycle school, and it applies to any engine, car, truck, bus, whatever. If it's a 4-cycle, 2-cycle, it's even easier, right? They made some really cool 2-cycle bikes for the street way back in the 70s. In the 60s, they had some cool 2-cycle bikes. I've seen a few of them that were 2-cycle, but they were road bikes, and they're pretty quick. I mean, you get a 350cc 2-stroke, it's able to keep up to a 750 4-stroke, right? If it's all about power to weight anyway. And it depends on the weight of the rider and his skill level. It depends on a lot of different things, but the weight of the rider is a big thing. That's why generally when motorcycle racing, you don't see big fatties like me. You usually see some really light guy on there, like 150 pounds soaking wet. Plus, it's racing motorcycles is very physical. Like you have to be in the tip-top shape, right? It was a Harley single made in Italy. Have you seen the Italian Navy lately? No, I haven't. I haven't at all. Okay, that's interesting. I'll have to check that out. Amarusi Harley. I'll have to write that down here so that I remember to check it out. Because I like looking at these things that you guys tell me about. Harley. I can well imagine what that thing looks like. It's probably a Harley. Well, actually, Harleys do have Brembo brakes and stuff on them now, right? But the old joke used to be, what does Fiat stand for? Fix it again, Tony. I mean, they made some good products. I mean, Fiat used to be big in racing way back when, right? But I think since they partnered up with what was it, Plymouth or Dodge to get Fiat Chrysler, I guess. I don't know if the quality's gone down or up, to be honest. My spelling is off, but Google will find it. Yeah. I'm rubbing my nose a lot tonight, guys, because I got allergies. There's been a lot of that yellow pollen floating around in the air today. And you guys are going to laugh when you see my next video. There's a great big chunk of grease in my mustache, and it's like just just hanging there and I don't even realize it. It looks ridiculous, but anyway, you'll get a good giggle out of that. But anyway, what else is going on, boys? Art, what have you been up to? Are you still here? You've been working on your Falcon? I saw you got some primer on the trunk lid there. Have you got it any further with it? Die, FCA, die. I'm just wondering. I probably missed a couple of your videos. Sometimes I don't catch them for whatever reason. I rung the bell. Like the channels that I follow, I ring the bell, but I don't know. They might have had a little bit of a brain fart or something, and they don't like. Sometimes what happens is they'll tell you someone's gone live, but they're already 30 minutes into the program before you even get the notification that you've gone live. I don't know why that is. Oh, did you paint it? Oh, I got to go check that out. How did it turn out? Oh, you're out of town for work. How did the Falcon turn out? I'm sure it looks great. What color did you go with? Oh, you're looking at another car. Uh-oh. 60 Ranchero. Oh, there you go. Is that for you or for the wife, possibly, or for both? Paint work, not paint job yet. Okay, you're still doing body or primer and stuff. Right on. Yeah, 60 Ranchero. There you go. No, you wouldn't find anything like that around here. And if you did, it'd be a rotisserie restoration, and they'd be asking 80 grand for it, because anything like that would be just a pile of complete iron ore. You don't see many of them cars in Nova Scotia. I'm going to do another Kijiji Minute short, I think, this week, but it's going to be on the most ridiculous priced ad I can find for a car on Kijiji. I'm going to do a little short of that, and I'll try and make it entertaining and funny if I can. But you're not going to believe some of the prices that people are asking for some of this stuff. I mean, they must have just get done watching Barrett Jackson or something is all I can figure out. We'll find out on Tuesday night. Okay. So you're going to look at it Tuesday night, right on. Oh, yeah, they were good cars, no question. Ranchero, frig, yeah. Especially a 60. They're not exactly pumping them out anymore. Not of that quality, anyway. Yeah, I kind of played around with Instagram for a little bit. Are you asking me? I kind of played around with it, but I don't really follow it too much. Gave me 5,000 views this week. Crazy. Oh, there you go, man. Sweet. That's awesome. Keep plugging at it, man. Like I said, it's just get them out. Get like consistency, right? The shorts really work, as you guys have seen. The little short videos, like a minute and under. And by the way, when I did that Kijiji short deal there, I didn't have a stopwatch, and I hit it at 59 seconds. I just went off the cuff. I never had a script, or I didn't have a stopwatch on. I just happened to hit it exactly almost perfect. So that was a fluke, by the way. But yeah, man, that's awesome. Oh, you did? Okay, I'll have to go check that out. It must be strong. Is it, Robert? It works pretty good. I bet it does. Oh, that's pretty good. Still. Yeah, and yeah, I hate to say it, Art, but you know why the short videos do better. It's because most people have the attention span of a gnat, a little black fly, right? That's why the short ones tend to do better. And a lot of the platforms like Google and Facebook, they love the short videos because it doesn't take up a lot of room on their site, right? So they love it when you keep it to like a minute or less. But I mean, really, if you've got a good little short video, like 60 seconds is enough to get your point across. I mean, obviously, otherwise people wouldn't do them. Attention span, yeah, it's very short nowadays, right? You know what an ad is, right? It's like those little black flies. I call them no-see-ums when you're out in the yard and they bite you, right? They're like little tiny little things, right? But anyway, yeah, they don't have much of an attention span anymore. When I was in school, that's all I had to do was just pay attention. And I got good marks and stuff, but I worked at it and I paid attention. I wrote notes, and in the evenings I used to read mechanical books and study stuff. And I mean, that's what you got to do if you want to be successful in it, right? And I wasn't there. I was 8 hours from my home, and I wasn't there to figure around. I was there to do well. So I had to study and work at it, right? But anyway, I still learn every day, every single day. I'm out there turning wrenches. I'm learning something, guaranteed, right? Something I didn't know before, something new, a new way of looking at it, a new way of doing it. A lot of times what'll happen with me is I'll have this mechanical problem and it works on me, right? It doesn't drive me crazy, but I think about it. My brain just goes into overdrive. And if I leave it alone sometimes for a while and come back to it, I'll get some sort of an epiphany, right? I'll get an idea. Or I've had things happen before where I've had a mechanical problem, and then I'll go to bed and I'll dream on it. And when I get up in the morning, I'll have something to do or to try, or an idea of what's going on. I'll go in there and sometimes I'll play around with it. Blammo, I got it, right? That happens more than you'd think, right? But you got to know the theory in order to use your brain to help you solve problems, right? Yeah, you too, man. Take care, Mo Parnut. Can't wait to see your next videos, buddy. I like what you do. I follow your stuff. I think I rung the bell on your channel too. But anyway, yeah, it's the attention span thing, Art. That's what it is. They probably have, some of these guys I know, they got like 3 or 4 screens, right? And they've got like different things going on all over the place. So they'll watch a minute of this video and then they'll go over here and watch a minute of that video. And, so that's why it almost really makes sense to ask people to subscribe to your channel within the first 30 seconds of your videos, because not everybody's staying to the end. Most of my videos, I don't know what the average is, but on like an 8-minute video, they'll get halfway through it, or some guys watch right to the end. God love them. But most of them don't. I mean, it's like halfway or whatever it is, right? But anyway, yeah, so that's kind of what's been happening. What else is going on? So yeah, Sean doesn't think too much of the Rust-Oleum idea, Art. He's kind of against it. He wants me to get a Limco, I think it's a BASF product, Limco single stage enamel. He goes, at least that way it's activated. But I don't know. I'll see what I can afford. I mean, really, that's what ultimately it's gonna come down to. I never had any plans of putting the super shiny Concours Restoration paint job on it to begin with. As long as it's all one color, and like I like black, and I like that dark canyon black. I want the whole truck to look like that, really. That dark satin finish without the high gloss. That's kind of what I want the whole thing to look like. So I think I get there even if I had like if I did the Rust-Oleum, I just put it on there with the gloss and I just buff it down, you know what I mean, to get some of the shine off of it. And but anyway, that's just the way it is. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, he's right, in a sense. If anyone goes to do anything with it, if I ever wanted to put a good paint job on it later, it'd be a lot extra work. But I mean, I'm not too worried about that. It's just sandpaper and labor. And bodywork's super labor intensive anyway, always has been, right? But anyway, you do what you want to do, because at the end of the day, it's your vehicle, right? You do what you want to do with it and what you can afford. I mean, I think a gallon of Rust-Oleum here, which is more than enough to paint my truck. I forget what it is. I think it's about $43 or something for a gallon. Then you get some mineral spirits or acetone, whatever you use with it. But he's right, it isn't activated. And if you wanted a shine, you could always go and get like a gallon or a quart of 2K clear, mix it up and spray over it. And I think someone was even telling me if you wanted to activate the Rust-Oleum, you could put hardener in it. But he's probably right. I mean, it's better to get a single stage automotive type finish that has an actual hardening agent in it. It might make it last longer. But if you think about it, Rust-Oleum is an oil-based product, and it's made for rusty stuff that sits outside in the weather all the time, right? So there must be some agents in that that'll protect it from, from the sun and from harsh chemicals and whatever it is, right? I don't know about every stuff, but I'm not going for perfect. Yeah, well, that's the thing, right? Like, I'm not doing a Concours job here. What I'm spraying is not going to be like a base clear or anything like that. I'm not looking for really, really nice, super beautiful or anything like that. I'd rather spend my money where it counts on the drivetrain and have the body look okay, but passable, right? I like it all one color, and I really don't like that charcoal gray that the black. See, what's on it right now is Napa Pro Grip, they call it. It's like their version of automotive paint. And it was like a satin finish that he had sprayed on there years ago. But the sun is it's so vicious here that it's taken the black and it's made it gray, almost like the color of this hammerhead here where it says my name here. That kind of gray, the black. And I don't like that. I want it all one color, right? Like the whole thing black, that dark black. I don't even really like the white Ford letters on the back of the tailgate. I'd like that just to be black. But anyway, you do what you like, right? And I've seen some of them pictures on the YouTube and stuff of the Rust-Oleum paint jobs, and some of them look pretty good, especially the ones that have put the clear on it and then they've buffed it all down, right? And then gotten all the orange peel and stuff out of it. It looks pretty good to me. I don't know, like, I don't know how well, like maybe that panel 2 years later it looks like dog poop. I don't know. But I mean, nothing's going to last forever in this weather, in this environment, especially in Nova Scotia, right? We get all the salt and we get the spray and we get the heat and humidity. And that's why my gas tank was full of rust, 3 inches of rust particles in the bottom of it, because half a tank of fuel and then half a tank of air, and the two mixing together in a high humidity with water droplets where there's no fuel dripping down and rust and causing rust streaks on the steel, years of that. And then all of a sudden it starts rusting all out. Right. So anyway, I think I've learned my lesson with that. So when I go to store the truck this winter, I'll fill the gas tank right up to the top as far as I can get it, put some preservative in it, and then run the engine to get the gas line and like the preservative all through the fuel system, and then start it once a month. That's what I did last year. Is I started it once a month. I let it get up to temperature like 170, 180, and then shut it off, and then it was good to go. Right? I didn't have to pull the battery or nothing that way. Single stage urethane with a flattening agent and it won't fade. Yeah. And I guess, Robert, that's probably why Sean wants me to use like a Limco or I like I've sprayed paint before. I like the Nasons. It's the DuPont lower line. It's not their expensive DuPont, but it's called Nansons or Nasons. That's what's on my fuel tank on my Virago. If you go look at those videos, you'll see I just did that with a spray bomb, but it's activated automotive paint. And then I put a 3K, not a 2K, but a 3K clear over it to make it fuel proof, because on a motorcycle gas tank, you're going to get gas on it no matter how careful you are. You don't want all your work to just run down the side of the tank, right? But he's probably right, and you're probably right. It would be better if you used a actual automotive paint that had a hardening agent in it. The results would likely end up being better. I want that Murder Nova look, like the black. It's kind of like it's a satin black, but it's a little bit shinier than the satin black, if you know what I'm saying. But it's really, really dark. It's pitch black. It's a canyon black, like the fender on my truck. I can't get off the canyon black art. But the problem is I've been looking for those spray cans and I can't find them anymore. I was only able to get 2. And nobody seems to have it anymore. So I don't know what I'm going to do now. But see if I can get someone to match that color. I guess I get a little bit left in a spray can, and maybe I'll just spray it on a piece of tile and take it into the paint store. Don't these guys have like some spectrometer or something? Maybe they can't do that for automotive paint. I'm pretty sure though, I heard tell of somebody being able to do that. Oh, Rust-Oleum does come in satin black. Oh, there you go. And I guess if it wasn't shiny enough, I could always put a little clear on it and then buff it down, right? Yeah, there's too much alcohol in fuel today. Yeah, there's a lot of ethanol, which is alcohol in the fuel, and it eats everything, man. It eats needles and seats. It eats rubber parts. It just eats, and it sucks. Satin black, Rust-Oleum. Yeah, go grab a gallon of that. And gloss black. Yeah, I think they have other colors too. There's a gray. They have a red, and they have a blue, like a dark blue kind of color. But anyway, I'm not really looking for show truck stuff. I just want something that looks decent. I want a 10-foot paint job is what I want, right? 10 feet away, it looks good. Local Napa Martin Senior Paint, and they can custom mix a satin you like. Yeah, see, what's on it now is Napa Pro Grip in black. But they must not have had the right agents in it because it faded terrible. It looks gray now, Robert. It doesn't even look black. If you go look at my last video of my truck, look at the driver's side front fender. That's the color I want, that dark, dark black, right? But I want a little more shine than that. Like, I don't want the super shiny, but I don't want like super flat either. I kind of want a little bit of sheen, like the Murder Nova car. Go look at the Murder Nova car. That's the color I'm after. If you guys ever come across any paint chips or color codes or anything, throw them my way, please, would you? I've asked a local guy, a friend of mine that's into painting and stuff, if he wouldn't mind checking through his catalogs and see if he can come up with something that would work. Preferably single stage, because that's really all I'm looking to do anyways, put like a single stage on it. Again, I'm not going for Barrett Jackson or, like what's that, SEMA. I'm not going for the SEMA paint job. You don't see too many Ford Rangers in SEMA, although there probably is. There has been probably at some point. But see, the thing with the paint job like that, you'd be scared to go anywhere with it, especially around here, because there's always shopping carts and stones and garbage and kids throwing rocks and all manner of things happen. And for sure, you're going to be fixing it, right? And if you're worried about the paint, then you can't enjoy the vehicle. That's the way I think on it anyway. Maybe I'm wrong. Wish I was closer. I'd do a few spray outs of different glosses. Yeah, I'd just like to know like what would look the best on it. Now, a friend of mine had a good point. He said, whatever you decide to use, he said, just sand down a little corner of your fender and just put it on there and then go have a beer or something and just see what it does on the surface. If it doesn't all bubble up or react or whatever, then you can just sand down what's on there. And I think it's always a good idea, though, to run primer. In any case, even if you've got a finish on there already, just sand it down really good, get it smooth, and down to 400 grit or whatever, or even 200 grit or 300, even 320, and then put the primer on there and wet sand it down or sand it down up to 400 or even 600, I guess, if you want to go the extra step, and then spray it on there and just see if it reacts. A lot of times it won't, sometimes it will react. It'll bubble or it'll peel or whatever, right? I don't think so in my case. See, the body in that truck is really good. The driver's side door has got a few issues, and I might just be taking the green door off the other truck to put on there because it's much, much better shape. And just like take my door card off and put it on this one. But the problem with this green door is I noticed that the rubber around the windows isn't very good. I guess I could take the one that's on the Ranger now, or even better, just get a new rubber kit for that window, seal it up. But anyway, we'll figure it out. The main thing is to get the rear end in it and get her working exactly the way I want first, right? Sean is a good body man, though. Man, I've seen some stuff that he's painted in the past, and he does a heck of a good job. He knows his stuff. He knows what works with what, right? But he's that's definitely his field of expertise, right? 220. Yeah, I guess with the idea behind the 220 then would be, Robert, is you want something for it to bite to, and 400 wet, then spray put the top coat on. Yeah, probably 3 coats of a single stage, I would be guessing. Like, just put a light coat on the first one until it's tacky, and then spray the next one on. Yeah, right on. Awesome. Well, you can go to you guys can give me all the advice you're willing to spare, because I'm by no means an expert when it comes to spraying cars. I did, however, have a course, and I've got 6,600 hours on a spray gun. I was involved in spraying kitchen and bathrooms and bathtubs refinishing. I worked for a company called Worldwide years ago, and I did a lot of that type of spraying with a product called a polyurethane. But I've sprayed cars and boats and bikes and stuff before, but I'm no expert. Till it covers, yeah. Right on. See, the whole thing with the Ranger is that there's not much body fill left in it. I've cut out all the bad stuff pretty much. It's all steel. So there'll be just a very light skim of fill over the whole thing. There's a couple of things I don't like on the driver's side rear fender on the box. There's a dimple right in the hard part to get out, right in the center of the arch for the rear wheel. There's a dimple in there. Now, I wish I had one of those welding rod guns where you can weld on a stud and then put a slide hammer and pull it out. That would probably pop it right out of there, but I don't know if I can get at it from behind. I might be able to take the rear plastic fender out and get at it. I'll try and hammer and dolly it out before I do anything, but sometimes you can't reach at the area that you're trying to get the little dimple bead out of it. Sometimes you can. It just depends, right? But anyway, oh dear, man, we're coming up on that hour where I'm going to say bye here, but we'll keep going for a few more minutes. But anyway, am I right on that, Robert? Is that the idea behind 220? Is you want a little more grit there because you're trying to get the primer to bite a little better to the base material? I know that when I sprayed cars before, when we wet sanded the primer, it always made a little better job. And I'm wondering, do you guys always paper up your, like for your primer coat, you mask up the car, spray your primer, and then wet sand it and everything? Do you take the masking paper off and then put fresh stuff up to spray your top coat, or do you just wipe it off with like a tack cloth? And you know what I mean? I'm not sure on if you do it twice or you do it once. I've heard different things from different people, so maybe you guys can tell me what the deal is on that. You can tell it's getting dark outside because look how dark it is in the room here. If you go back to when I started this, it was a lot lighter in this room. But anyway, it's almost 9:30 here, so it gets dark around 10, I guess, in the summertime here. A friend of mine sent me some pictures the other day. She lives up in Fort McMurray. It doesn't get dark at all hardly there. It's like 2 a.m. and it almost looks like it does outside right now. It doesn't get fully dark, so that's kind of neat. But anyway, thanks a lot, fellas, for coming on here. I guess I'll say goodnight to all of you, and send me your videos. Make sure you put up any fresh stuff. Like I said, the guys that have channels with content, I check them out, and I love watching all your guys' stuff. Please come and check out my stuff when I'm doing it, and I know you will because you guys are dedicated to my channel. You always have been, so I appreciate you. Always retape. It's 8:30 here and it's still daylight. Right on. Yeah, it's 9:30 here, so you're an hour behind me. Always retape. Yeah, that's what I thought, but I guess for the amount of work it is, it prevents probably dust, I would assume, from getting on the top coat. That's one reason why you retape. And I don't know, maybe it makes it easier when the paint has dried to unmask it, because it hasn't been on as long, to unmask your work carefully so you don't pull the tape with the paint with the tape. That's a thing that I know has happened to some painters, and they really hate that when that happens. So anyway, thumbs up for War Amps, fellas. Stay classy as always. And thanks for coming on. Appreciate you guys. Take care, and we'll see you real soon.